Hi guys! Look! No hat and palm trees. Welcome to sunny, warm Los Angeles. I miss working on Athena, but I do not miss the weather back home. The pool house here next to me is where my girlfriend Ava lives, but I think there's something waiting for me out front. Oh, would you look at that? An exciting looking package from Defender. Maybe I can convince Ava to make a quick appearance when she gets home from bringing home the bacon, but for now let's just check out the contents of that package. I do apologize for the framing being a little bit off in this video. I left my tripod in Steve, so I'm forced to improvise, but let's see what we got here. This is a Raycor 500 mA fuel filter and water separator. It looks a little something like this. Pretty dang spiffy. Let's put this over here for now and take a look at the rest of the stuff. There's some fittings here, those are not terribly interesting, they're for the fuel filter. There are some electrical switches, those are not really that interesting either. And then there is an LED light. This is an Aquasignal London LED, and the website I got this from, which is defender.com, specifically named this as an engine compartment LED light. I'll be able to use almost any LED light inside the engine compartment aboard Athena, but I just found it interesting that this was marketed as an engine compartment light. So yeah, this will certainly be interesting to take a closer look at. The light is IP65 rated, and as you can see it's all potted here on the back. I like the fact that it's nice and thin. I also like the fact that this gets secured directly through the light. It's not one of those profiles you screw into something and then you clip the light onto that, because that never really seems to work out that great for me at least. It is a 7 watt LED and it is, whoa, 6,000 Kelvin. This is going to be very white light. But it's the engine compartment, so that's okay. A little later in this video, when I'm back aboard Athena, we'll try hooking this up to the batteries to see what the light looks like. But it should put out 700 lumens, so 2 or 3 of these in the engine compartment, and that should be plenty of light. No doubt the student amongst you have already guessed that one of these switches here is going to be for the engine compartment light. The other one is going to be for the light in the main saloon. I like these switches here because they're backlit. There's a little label included that you can stick onto it, and that way you can find it in the dark. I've got one of these aboard Obelix and I've been very pleased with it. As you might be able to make out, there's a small little indent here, and inside of that there's an LED light, and then you've got these little stickers here that you can pop into that little recessed area, and it looks pretty good. Again, once I am back aboard Athena, I'll try hooking up one of these so that you can see what that little red LED that's hiding in there looks like. But the most interesting thing in this pile here is, of course, the Raycor fuel filter. This is the 500 mA version, and there are multiple versions to choose from. I just think the 500 mA is a good fit for Athena. And yeah, this is what it looks like, and this is certainly gonna spiffy up the engine compartment quite a bit. For me, the choice came down to either the 500 mA or the 500 mAm. The difference being that the MA version has a plastic bowl and a metal heat deflector. The MAM version has a metal bowl. Bear in mind, when I say bowl, I'm referring to the clear plastic here and not this thing, because like I said, this is a heat deflector and this is the bowl. The thing is, if you have a US Coast Guard registered vessel, I believe you're required to have the MAM version, the one with the metal bowl instead of the plastic one. But seeing as Athena is never going to be US Coast Guard registered, I figured it would be nice to be able to see what's going on with the diesel fuel. So for me, the big selling point of the MA version was the fact that it has a clear bowl that allows you to keep an eye on things. Of course, in my case, I'm going to have a fuel polisher hooked up to the day tank, so I'll more than likely never see any kind of grime in here, but still, it'll be nice to be able to keep an eye on things. The drawback to this clear plastic bowl is of course that it will melt in a fire, whereas the metal bowl on the MAM version won't melt. But I figured if a fire burns long enough and hot enough for this to melt, well then the rest of the boat is probably going to be up in flames too. Raycor has a really good reputation when it comes to fuel filters and water separators, and that's why I chose to go with one of their products. And also this has a pretty neat feature. If you look here inside of the plastic bowl, you can see a black little plug, And that is actually for a little sensor that can detect water. That way you can get an alarm if you start accumulating water here in the plastic bowl. You might be wondering why I've chosen to purchase all of this stuff here in the US. And the answer to that question is simple. It's simply just cheaper. Take for instance this Raycor filter. By purchasing this here in the United States, I've saved $99 compared to the cheapest place I could find in Europe. I'm going to pack up all of the goodies and stuff them in my duffel bag for the trip home to Denmark in a little over a week. And it is worth mentioning that this, of course, only saves me money because when I bring this back in person after a trip to the US, I'm not taxed on anything below, I think it's $580.
Hi guys!
Well guys, in case you haven't guessed it already, this is Ava, my girlfriend, and I know a lot of you are excited to meet her.
Okay. So over the past couple of months, we've been talking about how we would introduce me on the videos, and then a couple weeks ago at the meetup, we kept getting the same questions over and over again, so we thought, why not answer those on camera for you guys?
The first of those questions is, how did you guys meet?
So my sister and brother-in-law, they plan on circumnavigating one day, and my brother-in-law watches a lot of sailing channels, and he watched Sail Life, and he was like, you need to email this guy, he's perfect for you. And I was like, what are you talking about? He lives in Denmark, that's crazy. And he was like, I'm telling you, just do it. And I was like, that's so weird. So, you know, I started like watching Sail Life videos with him, and like little by little I was like, oh, he's so funny, he's so cute.
Aww.
And then he couldn't get the ketchup out of the ketchup bottle at Elfie's, and I was like, is that him? And then I emailed him because we were going on a sailing trip this past summer. I was learning how to sail, and I just emailed him and asked him a few questions, and we just started emailing back and forth from there. And that was, about a year ago.
Yep. Another common question we got was, what the heck does Ava do?
So I am a student. I am studying psychology at Cal State Northridge, go Matadors, and I graduate in the spring, and I'm starting grad school in the fall.
Probably the most common question we got was, do you sail?
Yeah, so this past summer I got my ASA 101 certification in the Florida Keys at Miramar Adventures. Shout out to Captain Jeff, what? But yeah, we did that, and then, you know, we've gone out a couple times out of Marina Del Rey, and we try to go out when we have time.
Those were the three most common questions we got. So there's just one more little question. Do you sand?
Do I sand?
So as you can see, this one is quite handy. Ava is going to stop by Athena for a couple of weeks this summer to lend a hand, so stay tuned for that.
See you!
And just like that, I am back in Denmark. Fortunately, it looks like Athena has weathered my absence pretty well. I've brought back all of my exciting loot from my raid in the US, so why don't we haul all of this stuff up into the boat and take a look. I am jet lagged, and needless to say, I am missing Ava something fierce, so I think I might cut this video just a tiny bit short. To be completely honest, the combination of being jet lagged and being away from Ava just plain old sucks. But not all is lost. For one, as you might have been able to see outside, all the snow and ice is gone, and the temperature is starting to come back up. So I think in a couple of weeks it'll be warm enough for me to start working with epoxy. That is important because I need to be able to use epoxy to be able to finish the inching compartment. And in fact, I need to use epoxy for almost every single task on my to-do list for this summer. So the fact that the temperature is starting to come back up is certainly cause to be excited. And then there's also the fact that I know that Ava is going to be landing in Copenhagen in exactly 87 days as of recording this. And that I'm very excited about. We're going to spend 2 weeks driving around Norway and Sweden, and then we're going to come back to Denmark and work on Athena. So yeah, I think that is going to be a lot of fun. Here inside Athena, everything is exactly like I left it, meaning everything is a huge, giant mess. But that's okay. I think my parents are gonna swing by in a couple of weeks and help me do a tiny bit of much needed tidying up. Remember about a month ago when I dropped the rudder, I removed a lot of crusty looking hardware from the engine compartment. Very, very crusty indeed. Given all the time and effort I'm putting into refitting the engine compartment, I certainly didn't want to put this lot back in there. That just wouldn't look right. So I've been out spending a tiny bit of money. Ta-da! Feast your eyes on this shiny, shiny stainless steel. Pretty nice, eh? I would go as far as to call this spiffy adjacent. But you know what they say, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So next weekend I'll see if I can get rid of the small imperfections from the laser cutter and also polish up the surfaces. I'm sure some of you are all clinched up right now going, that looked expensive, but it wasn't actually that bad. I think that was around 150 bucks, but mind you, that was with the friends and family discount. In an attempt to be just a tiny bit frugal, I mentioned that I would polish this myself, so that's why the surfaces aren't perfect yet. I've never tried polishing stainless steel before, but I figured this would be a fun activity for next weekend when I'm no longer seeing double because of the stupid jet lag. I've got 3 different kinds of these abrasive flap discs. I've got some of these polishing flap doodads and some polishing compounds, so yeah, we'll see how this goes. Before heading back home to Denmark, I also picked up a few bits and pieces from Harbor Freight. I had never been to a Harbor Freight before, but Ava's brother-in-law Julian brought me there, and I picked up a few bits and pieces just for fun. And the thing I'm most excited about is this little guy. I lost my little hex drill socket driver last summer, and having one of these will be super useful when I go to put on the new tow rail, because there's roughly 200 bolts there that needs tightening. In case you're not familiar with these, what they do is they turn your power drill into a nut driver, just like this. Super, super useful. This little 3-piece set was $4. That's probably the best $4 I will ever spend. But wait, there's more. It's actually Warrior branded, which I thought was kind of funny because, as most of you guys know, Athena is a Warrior 38. You guys have already seen the contents of this box, so I'm not going to show you everything again, but I did promise you to show you the LED light in action earlier in this video, so let's do that. Of course, the sun is out now, so it's awfully bright, but let's just give it a go. I've only got this single light right now, but I think I might need to add 1 or 2 more, but let's see. That looks pretty good. Maybe just 1 more light and then it's gonna be pretty awesome. While we're in the engine compartment, I want to thank those of you who left comments saying that the hoses from the cockpit drains were too long. You're completely right, but it's actually on purpose. I'm going to replace the cockpit drains and also the through holes, so that was why I left myself a little bit of extra hose to work with. But we'll get back to that later this summer. Like I showed you a little earlier in the video, I also picked up some switches, and I think I promised you to show you how these light up, so let's take a look. I also think I mentioned that I've got one of these aboard Obelix that I've been very pleased with. These are from BEP, they are contour interior switches, and yeah, let's go ahead and open one of these up. There is the switch itself, there are the labels, there are some screws, and then there are these little black doodads here that are for filling out these holes here where the screws go. This switch is going to be used for lights, so let's go ahead and pop in one of those light stickers. There we go. And this is what the light looks like with the little LED on. Now it doesn't look like much during the day, but at night this is super useful. I'm going to mount this little switch outside of the engine compartment. I don't know where yet, but we'll figure it out. Like I mentioned, I am going to cut this video a tiny bit short. I'm jet lagged, and for me that feels a little bit like being hungover. I'm nauseous, my head is spinning, everything is a little bit off and kind of dazed. so I think I'm better off aboard Obelix watching some Netflix. I'll most likely be back with a new video next weekend, but tomorrow, that's Monday, I'm possibly having a couple of wisdom teeth pulled, which I'm not really that excited about, so I don't really know what state I'll be in come next weekend, but I'll certainly do everything I can. I've got a quick couple of things before ending this video. First up, if you don't mind, go ahead and leave a welcome to the channel message for Ava down below. I'm sure she would love to read those. And also a great big thank you to those of you who showed up at the meetup in LA, especially those of you who traveled for a considerable distance to get there. It was a ton of fun. I think there were 60 to 80 people. I wish I'd had more time to chat with each of you, but I was spread kind of thin. So yeah. That is basically going to be it for this video. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. See you!